Okay, the chair will bring the Macon County Airport Authority to order. The meeting from August 29th. Today's not.
26.
I looked at that. I need to put my license on. Thank everyone for coming. We appreciate all of you being here this afternoon, and I know it'd be a good afternoon to be efficient rather than be here at this meeting, if you're efficient. But it's good to see all of you. Appreciate you being here, and especially appreciate Jim being here. Go look at Dave and Charlotte. So we had some nice weather decent out there. So we're glad you're here. Tommy will be on in a little bit, I suppose. And we welcome our news folks here today from Macon County News and like the press. So appreciate you being here. And this gentleman here takes pictures of everybody and also, I guess, records our meetings. Is that correct? So I guess our first order of business today is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. I'll make what you got. Here a second. I'll second. Any questions or any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Minutes are approved. Anything to improve our report, we'll get money for it. And we can charge it to the county. Yeah. Okay, let's move on down to other business. We have, we just got, we got notified Friday. I got this letter Friday from Department of Transportation, $150,000 grant that we got as discretionary monies that we can use from most anything as long as it's pertaining to safety issues. Am I right? You know that?
Well,
that's the way I read it.
it's your non-primary entitlement. Every airport in the NIPIS gets $150,000 a year. So that's what they call your non-primary entitlement. You're entitled to.
Yeah.
So your local match is 10%, which would be $16,667, which has been repeating. I know you've done it year after year after year. That money can be used for basically anything. There's a whole checklist of items. But if you start out priority-wise as far as safety-related, runway related, taxiway related, then they kind of come over to the land side. So you can even build hangars with it, but they have to have all of your other stuff up to speed as far as this right here is one of them. They'll start looking at those items, but you know, at some point in time, you're going to be so buttoned up out here. That's what you're going to need to do is use your non-primary entitlements for something else that may be a revenue generator for you, like hangars or something. But until you get to that point, you've got to put in your safety items and keep up your runway and your taxiway infrastructure. It doesn't take care of maintenance items. If you got an issue that the DOA looks at and says, well, that's a maintenance item, even though that money's sitting there, if they think it's something that you as an airport or sponsor should be taking care of, they won't necessarily allow you to apply those funds towards that.
I don't guess fuel and source qualify.
What time?
It could, but it may be low down the pecking order. Because fuel farms are an eligible item.
Good thought.
Very good.
Might be something we might consider.
Yeah, right. We need.
I know Neil, you would be for that, wouldn't it?
Fuel fund.
Same.
For what?
Improving the fuel fund.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
fuel farms are eligible.
Can I say something else?
Sure.
This $150,000 we've got right here, y'all already got the match for it. We did that when we did that apron rehab. Remember when we worked those together? Part of this already has to go to pay the last part of the apron rehab and the no-ride study and the AWAS. And so there's about, we're spending about, they're out of this, I'm sorry. Just want to let you know. So we're spending about $50,000. Y'all are spending about $50,000 on stuff that's already out there. But it still gives you a chunk. It still gives you what's left of that. You've already got the match, so you're good to go.
Well, that's encouraging.
They want to get that apron rehab finished up upstairs in finance.
So do you have any idea, once you get that taken care of, how much is gonna be left over from this?
I'm thinking, I figured out just off there's about 35 to 37,000 left to take care of the rest of the apron rehab. Then there's a $12,000 no-rise study invoice, back to the county. And then there's an AWAS invoice in the amount of around $2,700 to $2,800. Are the three things that I know what were coming out of it. And at one time, we had put in there to letter to Basil that you wanted to use the last chunk of it for the obstruction lining and the rotating beacon, but.
That's the next question I was gonna ask. If we got enough money, to go ahead and take care of the beacon and the obstruction lines, we really need to get them things done, right? Don't y'all agree?
Yeah, I would move that in front of.
I appreciate it. You give that priority.
But once Teresa takes care of whatever's outstanding there and knows how it's all balanced, then you can pick a project or projects.
That's what that shortfall to be performance for. That's why Nancy needed that in order to go ahead and reimburse that.
So let me ask this question. Do we need to go ahead and get an electrical contractor to give us a cost of what it's gonna cost to bring our obstruction lights up and running and also our beacon light? So we know exactly how much money we're gonna need?
Yeah, you can do it that way. Do you have a Walker white side beacon that we usually do, like your maintenance, if you have a problem on the head lights, you can call it.
Well, we had a company in Fayetteville that put them in. To begin with, he came up here, I guess, a couple times, maybe in the last 8 years, and checked them out. It's been about 3 or 4 years ago since he's here last. So, what?
Never lasted very long, they did.
No, I know.
2 or 3 months.
That's something we could do.
I know my side.
Yeah, and the guys out here now, Barnes and Powell, they're out of Rucken now.
That would probably be the ones to go.
Where are they located at?
Maybe, yeah, before they leave, I'll see if I can't get them. I just got the workers out here now, but I'll get somebody to get on this.
Jimmy, would you say that? The Barnes and Powell.
Barnes and Powell, Powell.
Because effort, the bulbs are burning.
Well, whatever. That's all wrong with them, but that's fine.
Now, I'm not too familiar with these obstruction lights you're mentioning.
They're on these high
Nine.
tops around here. We've got 7 of them.
And they're your responsibility?
Yep. Yeah.
And we've had people that worked at the airport that go up there and change the bulbs and that was it, you know.
But what type of structure are the obstruction lights identifying? Is it a cell tower?
No, just
Well, it's a tower, but.
the mountaintop obstruction.
He's asking what the lights are on. They're on the top of the tower.
Just orange and white?
Yeah, red.
Red blinker. And 3 of them were turbos with the solar cells, and the rest of them were electrical, 110.
But who, forgive me for being ignorant,
That's no sense.
who installed the towers? I mean, that's not something the airport authority did.
No, we didn't do that.
I'm trying to figure out why you had that responsibility, I guess, is what I'm looking at. As far as replacing.
I'm trying to think of the name of the electrical.
Electrical contract.
Who required them to be installed?
FAA, I suppose, because they've been here for years.
Would it still be a requirement?
I think that's to show the mountaintops that's
Yeah.
right here.
Well, I'm sure.
For night
Of course
flight.
it is.
Yeah, I understand it's an obstruction light, but I'm trying to understand who's responsible for changing that bulb out. A lot of times it's
What are the
not.
options? What are the options?
It'd be whoever set up the tower, number one. If you were to go out and put up a cell tower, that's who's gonna be maintaining that. Even if the FAA, if they send the 7460 to FAA, and FAA makes a determination that it's an air navigation hazard, it's gotta be lit or marked, then whoever applied for that 7460 is gonna be responsible for it. It doesn't revert back necessarily to the airport authority. If the cell tower went up out there on the mountain and had that requirement, you wouldn't have to pick up going and change that bulb out. I'm just not sure.
But these belong there. As part of the airport facility. Because the county owns the property they're sitting on.
I don't know enough to answer that.
Yeah.
Pete.
But I mean, it's,
I mean, you as an airport authority, I'm sure didn't contract somebody to go put that tower up there. Am I right? Somebody.
The county
the county
did.
probably did.
It was done
Originally.
It was done before.
It was done before there was an airport authority, so
Right.
they're within the county.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, you may be responsible, or the county may be responsible for doing that, but that's typically.
Because the county used to maintain it,
Okay.
and then we'd have individuals go over and change the light bulb years ago. He'd just climb up there and change the bulb, and come back and give him $10, and that's it.
Okay.
Per pole.
I'm thinking since the county deeded all the property to the airport authority, that they deeded those
Yeah.
towers along with the property. So
Well,
I'd say we're-
probably what you need to do then is look at getting someone that would do the same type thing if you had a localizer or a AWAS is not done by somebody, but if you had a glide slope, you know, you got technicians that come service those. You would roll that into their maintenance package as well and have them be responsible for that. Guys that I know that do that type of work are probably not gonna climb the tower, so we'll see what we can get out and walk on the right side of the barns and pile.
The county, when they were not quite as busy, would not ask the county communications department. They said they could go out and look at them and see what's wrong with it, just give them an idea. So, you know, if it's just, a lot of them, they went up here, it's close by, and looked at them, the switch was on. So they flipped the switch back on, the light came back on. So, you know, each one probably got something different
Yeah.
that's wrong with it. Because we've had some storms and the wires are down.
This
And they have
company,
disconnected.
this company that put them in is Bland, electrical company out of Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's the name of their company. So we can check with them again. I mean, I think they've lost interest in coming back up here so far.
Yeah,
Fayetteville's
yeah. And I'm not familiar with any other airport maintaining those type of structures or whatever, that's why I'm saying, asking.
That's what Andrews does. They ain't power, no. Should they do?
I can't think on that mountain.
You never know if they fly over the country.
I haven't been over that island, I don't really know. I don't remember. I don't believe I've ever seen these but one time. One. Still see when you came over Cali Mountain, like highway.
See Walmart here.
But yeah, we can
Walmart's
check those guys and see, if they're
Yeah.
interested, they may say,
Okay,
no,
let's
they're
get,
not interested either.
okay, let's go ahead and get a price, you know, what it's gonna cost to fix those things, and we may, you know, we'll find the money somewhere to get it done, either take some of this discretionary money, sure, whatever we can, pull out that, and then maybe talk to Baseline and give us a little bit of money that's left over to get these things up and running.
Does the county have a map or anything that can
Yeah.
get that's got the location?
Yeah, we got that.
Is it an airspace plan that's in the AOP set or?
Because I got,
Let me suggest that we go ahead and accept this $150,000 discretionary grant that we got for the minutes. The chair will entertain a motion that we accept this discretionary monies from the Department of Transportation to use for safety improvements here at the airport.
I'll make that. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries. So we've got that in the minutes. We had our council draw up a proclamation for the airport authority to consider. And, if you will, Joe, pass that around if you've got.
I've got a proclamation that we worked on, and it's, whereas Harold Corbin, late a Macon County native son, served for many years on the Macon County Airport Authority. And whereas Harold Corbin valued his heritage, honored his predecessors, and understood the need for continuing progress in Macon County. Whereas Harold Corbin was a strong proponent of the airport, understanding the economic importance of this airport to Macon County and to its people. Whereas Harold Corbin took personal interest in the operation of this airport, dedicating many hours of his time, expertise, and services to the development and ongoing success of the airport. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved, the Macon County Airport Authority, Miles Gregory, Chairman, hereby proclaims Harold Corbin an eternal friend of the Macon County Airport, and witness whereof, set this, hand and seal this 26th day of August 2014. There's a place for Miles to sign as a chairman and for all the members to sign as well. If it does meet with the approval, I've got it on a little better bonded. I would think that if we got it signed, then Teresa and I can work on getting a proper frame
Okay.
and location.
Thanks, appreciate it. Does anybody want to make any change to that or add to it, take away from what the wording is? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion then that we approve this proclamation.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no, so.
Use a blue pen if you can, please.
Been on the road? Mr. Chairman, while we're waiting, let me ask you a question. Neil, traffic picked up since we opened back up?
Yes, we're pretty well back to normal now.
How many of the Navajo Nation flew in the other night? Remember how many?
There was about
Arizona?
6 or 8 people on that airplane. They came in and had a meeting over in Cherokee.
You know, that's one thing the public doesn't realize sometimes. People that come in here, you don't document, but we don't ask. But,
See, one day I
They
said
were impressed.
5 jets up there, right at the fuel station. 5. Yeah, Miles and I went over and visited Brooks Robinson last year over at Harris. Encouraged, and they sent some stuff to. We probably need to make another visit. We probably need to make another visit. That's a Gulfstream too.
Yeah.
That's bigger than Memphis, that's a big plane. And the airport was closed. I had to take her to Asheville.
Neil, do you have anything that you can bring us?
I would like to mention, I talked to Joe earlier. We have someone who
Tell us.
No,
Any other?
I'm good.
You're good to go.
I got one thing. Macon County Board of Elections, Mr. Chairman, has expressed their consent, not consent, but their call that we cooperated with in having the polling place down here, and also would like to do it again in November. So,
Do we have a choice?
No, that works out quite well.
Okay.
It's convenient, and we set this room up, and it really works well.
Just make sure they clear their signs out after the lake. We still got
We still have some.
Over.
Okay. If all minds are clear, thanks again for coming, and we'll see you next month. And have a good holiday weekend. Everybody.